Remember this paper, our sentence patterns? Now when I had you do it before, we actually had a different story going. It was something about a necromancer. And we talked and introduced up through the appositive. What I'm going to do, this is a different story. You do not need to write this down, okay? Especially if you have your old paper. It should be all about a necromancer. But this will give us a chance to just kind of go back through and review what those things were. And then we're going to add 3, 4, and 5. And you just write down what I write down, okay? And it will teach you the principles, because then you will have, you review the absolute, which you've already done, but then teach you the principles behind prepositions and participles that you'll be working with as homework coming up shortly. Okay, this was written by my 1A class. So if you happen to be in that class, no, I lied, it's 1B. This is what they've come up with so far. I warn you, it's kind of wild. Okay, remember that with introductory adverbs, most of our adverbs end in ly. It will kick in a comma, so you might get a sentence something like, sadly, comma, J.T. Oakwood ate his bowl of porridge. And by the way, Oakwood is a doctor. He's actually a child psychiatrist, just saying. Okay, conjunctive adverbs are those special adverbs that don't end in ly and show transitions and relationships. So they're going to be our big fancy transition words. You've got thus, of course, could be therefore, however, consequently, hence, moreover, furthermore. But they are adverbs, so the same rule applies. You do that guy and then it kicks in a comma. Thus, his salty tears were able to add flavor. Cool. Introductory adjectives. Decrepit and beaten. And usually the adjectives can't live all by themselves, so usually they come in pairs. Decrepit and beaten. Dr. Oakwood contemplated his future death and debt. Adjectives after the noun. We decided to pick up his death, his future death, and then describe it right here in the middle. His future death, prophetic and humiliating, had been determined by a young patient's oracle. Spooky. The appositive, that's our good old friend the renamer. After a noun, you probably have either an a or a the. You know, could be something as simple as Lucy the florist, Bob the builder, Dr. Oakwood, the best psychiatrist in the West, wondered why he couldn't keep a job. Okay, so now let's see what 1B came up with as they carried on with the story. The next thing they wanted to work with was the absolute. Remember, the absolute allows us to find out what's happening to the possessions of somebody as they do something else. Dr. Oakwood, comma, okay. The next thing that goes in the blank is a possessive pronoun that will tell us who and what is owning something. We've got a single guy. Our pronoun is going to be his. Okay, Dr. Oakwood, his mind spinning. Yeah, he owns his mind. What's it doing? It's spinning. Comma. Tripped down the stairs. So that apparently he's been contemplating it, and it's been determined, and his mind spinning, bam, down the stairs he falls. Okay, which kind of makes sense because now we get to put him in a position. Our prepositional phrases will show us position and space. Remember that our prepositions allow relationships between, say, an owl and a tree. The owl is on the tree, under the tree, in the tree, by the tree, near, far, next to, beside. Okay, prepositions show position, right? We've got a weird rule, though. If your introductory prepositional phrase is short, and by short I mean like 2 to 4 words, you actually have an optional comma. It's crazy but true. Okay? What I mean by that is if you have something like in the gutter, only 3 words, in the gutter, you actually do not need a comma as you complete that sentence. I'm going to put a little like circle-y thing. You can put the comma there if you want to. In the gutter, comma, in the gutter, no comma. And they wrote, oh yes, in the gutter, He lay wheezing. Yeah. But you can probably figure out that if these prepositional phrases get longer, in particular more than 4 words, you just plain have to have a comma will kick in. So 5+ words, definitely put in your comma. Okay? So that young patient oracle we decided was female, and we decided that she's going to come along here on a sparkly pink tricycle, of all things. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep, gonna kick in a comma. On a sparkly pink tricycle, the young oracle hummed as she approached. I see her in like this sparkly little dress, and I like the sing-song, spooky humming. I have it like at night for some reason. Okay, then we have 5A, 5B, and 5C that are all about these things called participles. Participles are anything that's going to be a verb plus an ing. So you might have something as like dying, living, breathing, sneezing, floating. And we're just going to put that thing in a different place in the sentence. So it starts out and says introductory participle phrases. We're going to start with one of those. Okay, so whatever we put here first is going to be an ing word. Okay, then when we put them in the middle, we'll dump an ing clause in the middle, and then we'll tack one onto the end. But it's the same kind of phrase we're working with here. All right. Turns out that as the girl comes up on a tricycle, they decided she was going to be cackling and cursing. Okay, kick in the comma. Cackling and cursing. The young oracle proclaimed victory. Apparently she's quite pleased with herself. And then this sentence, we're going to start with the same girl. This time we'll call her the mystic girl. Okay, sorry about this one. It's kind of long, and it gets a little wild, but you know, we were having fun. Okay, now put the comma, and now we want some sort of phrase that has an ing word. So here's what we decided, okay? The mystic girl, having been bitten by a radioactive unicorn, comma, there's the end of the participle phrase, used her powers. Okay, the kids were all talking about how this is very much like E.T. here. Used her powers to, not my word, but here we go, to boop his nose and float into the air. That is a magnificent sentence with a beautiful participle phrase in the middle. It's just odd. Okay, and our last one for today. To do a participle phrase at the end, you actually need a complete sentence, one full sentence, and then we're going to tack on a participle phrase. So, back to Dr. Oakwood. What is he thinking about all this? Well, Dr. Oakwood, oops, sorry, no comma. Full sentence first. Dr. Oakwood worried about the boop. Okay, full sentence, we're done. But now let's tack on an ing word, and because I want to make this one negative, okay? So normally you just have an ing word right next, but you could also have it be negative by saying not knowing. So there's our participle, just negated. Dr. Oakwood worried about the boop. Not knowing it would turn him into an oracle as well. A radioactive unicorn oracle, just specifying in case you're worried about what state he's in. So the kids decided that, of course, technically he dies and gets like resurrected, Harry Potter style, into this new oracle. So he did die. It was prophesied. But now he's all radioactive. Yeah. Good times. Okay. So in your homework, there's a big packet thing that has you practice the prepositions and the participles, where you're going to be writing some sentences based on "Where's Waldo?" And it will explain the principles again. But now you've been introduced to it, I think it will go easier as you're getting more of a feel for sentence variety. All right, talk to you later. Bye-bye.